welcome back to another TERA Plays TERA video. Today's video we are going to go over TERA Console's 132.01 update, and if you're watching this video on release, as long as everything goes well, this will be coming out basically as the game is going down for maintenance. That is my goal. If that did not happen, I apologize. But let's dive into the patch notes. Now, like always, they will be linked in the video's description. Feel free to go and check it out if you want to read anything yourself. If you want to see any of the pictures, as they are a lot that they provide. And I'm just gonna quickly, have these dungeon runs going from when patch 131 dropped. It's just going to be a compilation of dungeons. At this time there was a lot of glitches. Just figured we'll switch it up instead of doing the roaming somewhere. I already have this pre-recorded, so we're just slapping it on and going with it. So let's first get in dungeons and dungeon changes. The first thing we're going to cover is RK9 Hard Mode is being released. It is going to be released as a 920 item level, and it's going to give Vanguard credits of 1,200. That will be doubled if you have Elite. You will be getting 1 diamond. You'll be getting 3 Dungeon Core Annihilations. You'll be getting a Season 2 920 level box, as well as a guaranteed 50 Season 2 Broken Shards of Enchantment Steel and 1,500 item XP. Now, I'm assuming that is the base rewards without Elite, and I know Vanguard credits and the dungeon box will double. Pretty sure Annihilation cores will double. Item XP should be multiplied. I can't speak for the diamond or the broken shards. And that is the major changes, is that RK9 Hard is coming out. They're adding it. It will be the next leaderboard dungeon, and it has been rebalanced for this current gear set. We are also getting a difficulty adjustment system. The devs released a while back that they want to allow players to change the difficulty of dungeons to fit the party's needs, and right now I believe it is only going to be accessible in Forbidden Arena Hard to make it even harder, as well as it will be added to RK9 Hard, if not this patch, very soon. And then eventually they want to increase it to more dungeons. I don't know if they're only going to be doing this for the harder set dungeons, basically allowing players to make a harder version, or if you could even change the normal mode dungeons to be an increased difficulty. Not too sure, but I do like the concept of allowing people to make a dungeon even more difficult to result in better rewards, because a lot of dungeons right now, we're at a weird mix with player base. There's a lot of players that need dungeons to be easier so they can gear, but there's a lot of endgame players that kind of want even more harder content. So this is a really cool system. I hope it works well. I hope they code it well. And we're just going to cover kind of what it works with Hagufna. So there will be an object in the beginning that you can interact with. It will consume Annihilation dungeon cores, and basically there's an image here saying consume dungeon cores to manipulate the device in 15 seconds. And you'll change it from the normal mode or hard mode to hard 1, and I assume every player is going to have to interact with it. Everyone's gonna have to put in their dungeon cores. Actually, let's see. Difficult selection must be completed within 15 seconds. If the timer expires, the object resets to its default state. Once a party member enters combat, the object can no longer be interacted with. You need dungeon core annihilations. Difficulty bumping has begun. Changing the difficulty requires 1 dungeon core annihilation. Now, I'm not sure if that's gonna be 1 dungeon core per player. I'm assuming it is, not 1 dungeon core per group. But again, that's not been really stated. And then after selecting difficulty, the Baldur's Alberation, which is like a stone that you would see around Island of Dawn, will appear and can be used to reset the difficulty. The items like your annihilation cores that you put into it to make it harder will not be returned. But of course, if you clear this harder mode, you will be rewarded with more annihilation stone or, you know, annihilation cores to be, you know, rewarded back. Basically, then a more difficult version, you'll see like a number 1 underneath the boss's health. I'm assuming eventually they might make even harder variants using this system, where you can make it hard 1, hard 2, hard 3, hard 4, hard 5. That would be a really cool system, but I don't know if that's what they're planning. For instance, with Hagufna, hard mode 1, there's an image where it says increase your respawn cooldown by 10 times and reduce the amount of healing received by 25%. Empower bosses, this is a separate section underneath that image. Empower bosses will have improved attack, crit factor, defense, and other stats. Entering the combat area will apply a penalty based on the selected difficulty. So I'm guessing right there that does state we will be able to make it more harder or less harder. I believe PC kind of has something like this, and again, depending on the difficulty, you know, clearing harder modes grants additional rewards, including dungeon core annihilation and extra vanguard request points. So in other words, you are going to want to heavily learn the dungeon and then do the harder mode and then make it even harder. Again, I'm assuming there is possibly different versions of hard mode. Once the update happens in game, I'll be able to cover a bit more, record a lot more stuff than I have been, and just kind of see what's going on with this, you know, change set. Other dungeon changes have been made. RK9 Kennel has ultimate, and then Forbidden Arena has advanced. Those are going to be the basically harder versions. Boss skills now reset upon boss resets. The change will be monitored and they'll gradually apply it to other dungeons. Again, I don't know if that apply is going to be to like just the hard mode series or hard mode and normal mode, but it's hard to say. Normal mode rewards will be slightly reduced, meaning that the normal version of hard mode will be slightly reduced, and that's for specifically RK9 and Forbidden Arena. They're reducing those rewards slightly while giving a greater reward for doing the harder version. And clearing on the hard mode gains additional etching dust, dungeon reputation on the top of existing rewards. So that's all good stuff. Next, we'll get into some Timecape and Timecape Hard changes. The damage reflection from both dragons is being reduced by 50%. Dragon orbs are now going to be harder to destroy, which is really nice because one blade waltz can actually, well, I can destroy it with literally just one blade waltz. It's very frustrating. And I know other people can destroy it in one shot, so I'm glad they are making it harder to destroy. When a dragon is nearby, the orb's loss in HP is slightly reduced, increasing the duration of the reflect nullification window, as well as damage received when the dragon orb time limit expires is going to be increased. So basically, this just all states that orbs are going to be harder to break, orb time is going to be reduced, but you know, that kind of increases. There is a good balance because the orbs do last a very long time. On PC, I want to say maybe it was about 30 seconds before you had to move to a second orb, and basically 30 seconds to a minute. And the 4 orbs on the first dragon are just meant to be a DPS check. If you take too long to kill the dragon, the orb breaks, you move to the next one. If that orb breaks, you move to the next one. And obviously doing damage to the orb reduces the timer that it has to live. So, and then the AoE change is that AoE that's on the ground on PC, it actually did a lot of damage. Where console, you kind of just stand in it and it really doesn't do anything. So they are increasing that damage, which is a good change in my opinion. They are adding a teleportal, so after you kill the first dragon, or the first 2 dragons, you can teleport to the second boss, and that is another amazing change, because that mini game is just annoying. And then it just states that you don't have to ride the dragon, there's no penalty for skipping the mini game, which is amazing. Acaron's Inferno Hard, the initial location is being changed for the first combat start spawn. I don't know if that means they are removing all the mods and just spawning you right at the first boss, or if you are going to be started right at those section of, you know, little mini mobs. And then after defeating each boss, there will be a teleport to just go to the next boss location, as the dungeon does have quite a long, expansive runtime for just getting from boss location. Then we have some changes to RK9. Each boss is separate in this list. Basically, they are reducing the bomb's HP on first boss, and the white mechanic plasma storm damage has been greatly increased to lethal levels. I'm not too sure which one plasma storm directly is, because I don't know the names. I'm assuming that's either probably missiles or the AoE that pulls you in. But when running it, you guys will probably see. Second boss, the press outside the designated area has been increased with damage. You're not meant to live a press, you're meant to die no matter what mode it is. But a lot of changes and a lot of gear changes have made it so that people just can ignore this, and that's not the way it's meant to be. So they're increasing the damage from that, as well as the damage from the electric orb. Summon attack has been increased. So basically, someone gets secondary aggro, they drop the orb, and now that orb, when it shoots out that beam, is going to do more damage. Now, in RK9 normal, there is like a secondary beam that happens. I don't know if that's intended, but when I talk to the dev, it kind of sounds like to me that they intended to add that new mechanic to give the dungeon a bit more fun and life. So you will want to make sure you remember where you place the orb, and about 10 to 20 seconds later, I want to say, I could be off, I haven't counted it exactly, but about 10 to 20 seconds later, there is a secondary beam that comes from where that orb is. You can kind of see a yellow glimmer of where the orb used to be before, you know, that second beam hits. So that might continue on the hard mode to let everyone know. RK9's third boss, the damage from the tracking lock-on attack has been increased. And I believe tracking lock-on is typically the healer mech or the range mech, whatever you want to call it. Usually healers get it and they take it away from everyone else. Sometimes range DPS can accidentally get it, and it's just where he puts the crisscross or the plus sign on the ground. We have some changes to training ground. They're increasing the defense and resistance stats to be adjusted to the level 900 standards, so people can actually tell what their DPS is when fighting level 900. Priest and Mystic buffs are being increased as well. So once you break those buffs, instead of it being the base buffs, it's going to be in reference to a Priest and or Mystic having power of 350 along with a level 10 stone. I don't know if I really like that change. I kind of would like if there was a way to be more specific with it. I think the strength 350 is fine. I'm not a huge fan of the level 10 aura stone because a lot of players don't have these stones, so it kind of gives, like, yes, ideally everyone's gonna get a level 10 red, but I don't know. I just kind of wish there was maybe 2 crystals. Maybe I'll talk to the devs and be like, hey, can you make one of the healer crystals give strength 350 and then have another one give the added level 10? I think that would just be more fair, because then people get this pre-notion that, hey, I'm doing so much damage in training ground. Well, yeah, no shit, your healer buffs is giving you, quote, almost near max healer buff, and not every healer is running with that, so it would be kind of nice to be able to adjust and test both. But again, maybe that's just me being super picky on what I think the game should have. But overall, they are thinking about, obviously that is the way priests and mystics, healers in general, are meant to kind of build. And then destroying the reset stone now resets all the cooldowns on skills except for Brooch. I really like that. I hope this is something that maybe gets added to dungeons. I think that would be great. I think this would be an amazing stone, and I hope this is the start of them adding that stone into dungeons. Because if they can get a reset stone to work in, training grounds, one thing they could do is then copy and paste that stone to the start of every dungeon, to where once you enter the dungeon, you can literally, before entering the boss fight, put it right at the spawn stone, hit it, and have it reset everyone's cooldowns, so that when they get to the first boss, everyone's cooldowns are reset as far as skills. So I really like this concept, and I hope it's something they consider. And if it's a crystal that's at the start of the dungeon, well, that works, because every time you wipe and everyone reses out, assuming everyone reses out, then go in and now you just hit the crystal. And then even if you're on second boss, whenever you res out and you res back into or walk back into the dungeon, you're walking right back into the beginning, and then you teleport to the boss that you left off at. So I'm gonna probably try and talk to the devs too and see how it works in training ground, and see if that's something that could be maybe moved to dungeons. It would be a really nice change. Battlegrounds, they've actually been working on Battlegrounds in PvP. Some very interesting stuff. They have a 3v3 Kuma's Royale for level 65 being open. They are making base spec changes. Pet damage reflection will no longer apply in the Battlegrounds. Cooldown reductions will no longer apply in the Battlegrounds. Some, not all, it doesn't specify. I'm assuming pet cooldowns probably won't, and I'm assuming stigma cooldowns kind of won't. And then there will be Battleground exclusive equipment that will now be applied. I like it, but I don't. I would like maybe more focus on PvP if we're gonna focus, but I think it's a good starting point. Rewards, the gap between winning and losing has now been, it says reduced, but I'm gonna say it's been more probably compressed to where there's not as much as a gap. And then Vanguard request rewards for Battlegrounds has been slightly increased, doesn't say by how much. The Rudik Victor's guidance point shop has been changed a little. They're adding gear growth materials to that tab, such as fluorite shards, fragments, gemstones have been added, along with mysterious powder has been added. So that's one of the PvP shops will have all of that stuff. The Warmonger token shop, which I believe you get Warmonger tokens from Crosshair Stronghold, but I could be wrong. I don't really PvP, but they're changing up the etching tab. They are finally, removing all the old school etchings from this. You'll be able to trade your Warmonger tokens for mysterious powder, and then they're also adding a crafting proficiency rapid growth 100 for 1 hour. So in other words, you'll be able to rank up your crafting better by 100 with that. I'm not too sure how that works. I'm guessing I think it's probably just like a 100% bonus when you craft, and it's gonna help you just level your crafting with all the other bonuses that people can get for crafting, to level up your crafting to get the master and whatnot. Crosshair Stronghold event tokens, they've changed the miscellaneous tab. They've removed a lot of items, they didn't say what, but they're adding the rare etching crystals, and we'll kind of go over that when we go over the etching changes, because they made a lot of changes to etchings, which is really cool. I'm gonna blitz through the class stuff, just because I don't want to put too much time into class changes. If you really want to read that stuff, go ahead and go over, but we'll cover it real quickly. Ninjas are getting a change. Your stamina restore from Inner Harmony will go from 1000 to 3000. So once you pop Inner Harmony, you'll be granted up to 3000. If max stamina is 1000, only 1000 will be restored. But once you have a stamina pet, let's say you have a god tier stamina pet giving you 500 on each roll. Then your stamina is now not 1000, it's 2500, because 1000 plus 1500 is 2500. So once you have that pet summon, your stamina goes from 1000 to 2500. You hit Inner Harmony and you immediately get that 2500. That is why 3000 is the cap. Basically, whatever your stamina rolls from pets are will just automatically be filled up by hitting Inner Harmony this way, making stamina pets great for Ninja. Easy has a guide on that. Go hit up Easy in the Discord. I'm sure it's posted. You guys, I'll try to link it in the description if I have time. But you know, stamina pets are really crazy for Ninja, and this is a pretty nice change. Instead of you know, Inner Harmony just giving 1000. Alright, enough said about that. Lancer, your retribution shield is getting changed quite a bit. Maximum stacks, instead of being 10, is 7. Shield counter damage multiplier is going from 1.1 to 1.125. Shield counter hits no longer consume stacks. All stacks are lost when knocked down or stagger. Reaching 7 stack activates Guarded Shout for 10 seconds. And then refreshing duration at 7 stacks also refreshes the Guardian Shout duration. Guardian Shout self-effects, all aggro generation plus 100% and attack speed by 10%. Guardian Shout party effect, endurance is plus 25, strength is plus 10%, attack speed is plus 10%. Deactivated when knocked down or staggered. Warriors, finally, War Tank is finally getting a somewhat cool buff. Poison Blade will no longer remove the attack speed from traverse cuts. The duration is being decreased from 15 to 10 seconds, and the attack speed bonus is changed from 12 to 10%. And then Scythe Cascade, rage cooldown reduction amount slightly increased. So when you hit, you know, Scythe, the rage, your enrage cooldown is quicker. Slayer BTS, evasive crit measured slice cooldown reduction is being put from 1.5 to 2%. Whirlwind crit measured slice cooldown reduction 1.5 to 2%. Overhand strike crit whirlwind cooldown reduction from 2 to 2.5%. ICB crit factor bonus change from 30 to 60. Linkage duration change from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Swift linkage duration change from 7.5 to 10 seconds. Sorks Flaming Barrage now grants a fire element. Ice Lance now grants an ice element. Lightning Trap now grants arcane element. And Mana Boost now instantly grants all 3 elements upon use. Archer Find Weakness hitbox has been improved. Reapers, a Binding Scythe, a burst damage dealt when the effect expires has been increased. Maximum stacks per hit changed from 50 to 100. So Reapers, when you use your big cage, you can stack up to 100 to get an even bigger hit. Very nice changes. Items. Gear item level has changed. Gear item levels have been reset based on annihilation equipment, and plus 15 annihilation gear is item level 850. Season gear item levels may decrease slightly. So that's kind of strange. I'm assuming they hopefully thought about this before making this change. I think they're gonna reduce all the dungeons down an item level. Because they would have to. If plus 15 annihilation gear is 850 and season gear is meant to be under that, I think it's impossible to hit. Maybe not. I don't know. I really don't know how that's affecting things, if I'm going to be honest, until I see it. Obviously, they want people to get plus 15 annihilation to do top game dungeons or have, you know, season gear 40. I know right now max item level is 1000, and it's very confusing when looking at other people when they join LFGs, because when they apply it says their item level is only 100, because the game's not really coded to read that fourth, you know, numerator. Within that, I'm assuming this is just the balance, the over-exaggeration of numbers. Again, gear score doesn't really mean as much, it's more about player skill. But with that, we still gotta make sure the boundaries of being a high enough item level to clear content for rewards is incorporated. So I don't know if changing that item level is really that effective if dungeons are going to change as well and they just didn't talk about it, or is it still, you're still gonna have like plus 15 with all the other gear? Because again, just because we have annihilation at plus 15 doesn't mean they're incorporating level 7 10 stones, level 5 stigmas, you know, annihilation jewelry. So again, I'm not really sure what that means and how that's going to change, but obviously I think they just don't want to see people having item score of 1000 when the game kind of doesn't seem to handle it too well when applying to groups. They are making some, changes to items. Aura and Shardstone boxes will now give amplifying stones instead of the actual item themselves. Season 2 level 900 dungeon rewards will now include a small amount of Season 2 upgrade materials, meaning, level 900 dungeons will give Season Dust. Season upgrade materials have been added to the Vanguard request rewards, and a system message will now be displayed when enchanting gear to plus 10 or above. Weapon effects will now be applied to annihilation weapons at plus 10 or above. I believe they are bringing back the Death Rack wings, is from what I've heard, which is something that I know a lot of players missed and loved, and it's a really cool added thing. Dungeon core shops are getting a pretty huge and nice rework. So Anger Shop, we're going to start at the lowest dungeon tiers, are going to get common to legendary card boxes have been added. Elenu coin at 1000 gold, and this is account wide. Anything account wide basically just states you can buy it once per account. So if you buy it on your main character, your alts can't buy it. Anything otherwise you could buy on multiple characters. So let's say that legendary to common or common to legendary box, you could buy 10 per character. Well, every character you can buy 10 as long as you have enough of anger tokens, but that 100k gold is capped for account wise. Alright, now that that's done, let's get into the O shop. They're adding uncommon to legendary card boxes account wide into the O shop, as well as an Elenu coin giving 100,000 gold account wide. And then ultimate training book prices have been reduced. Kaya shop, they are adding a rare to legendary card box account. That sneeze got stuck. I hate that. I apologize. Yeah, so the random legendary card box has been added account wide. Refined Stigma Option Change Stone is being added account wide, and then you can also get the random and legendary card box has been removed from the Kaya shop. From the Annihilation shop, random, so common to legendary card box has been removed, uncommon legendary to card box has been removed. They are reducing the prices of training books. And then Secession Ruin Stone and rare etching crystals are being added to that shop, and they are account wide. Again, we'll get into what the rare etching crystal and all of that stuff is a little bit. Ancient Dungeon Essence shop, the bounty hunter tokens have been removed. Training book disassembly, advanced and ultimate training books can now be dismantled. I believe advanced means high training books can be dismantled for pages, and the number of training book pages obtained from dismantling the medium training book has been reduced. Rewards, the drop rate for tradable Elenu tiers has been reduced from dungeons. If you want to read the 2 achievements, go ahead and read them. I'm not going to cover them. I'm going to save some time and jump right into crafting. Proficiency gain from crafting has been increased overall. Meaning when you craft something, the skill points you get for that section is increased. Yeah, that's just it. It just means you can get to the higher level faster. The Destruction Barrier Awakened training books can now be crafted up to tier 5. The Assassin training books can now be crafted and advanced and ultimate training books can now be dismembered into training book pages. We already talked about that. That's listed here twice. The number of training book pages obtained from that has also been suggested. But yeah, you'll be able to craft specific training books, and you'll need, right here we can see the bulwark, you'll need the recipe, you'll need about 1,000 pages, quite a few lows, I think like 5 medium, and then some earth silixes. The training book shop, ultimate training book has been added, and the high training book price changed from 75 to 100, so they are making the high training books a bit more pricey. Crafting merch, new schematics have been added to the merchant's inventory, and some items that were listed under incorrect categories have been relocated. Basically, I'm pretty sure what they're going to add is all of the crafting books, and the new etching crafting recipes will probably be added in there. But with that, let's get into the etching. Accessory etchings have relied heavily on RNG, and it's something they want to address. So now you can craft up to strength 7. With that, understand the way this tier breaks down is when you craft a tier 1, you automatically get a strength +1. Tier 2 gives strength 3, tier 3 gives strength 5, tier 4 gives strength 7. Crit is also an option you can buy, and crit factor is obviously doubled. Now that does mean if you want to mid-max, you still have to use mysterious powder to get the mysterious etchings to RNG that +8 for right now. Tier 4 is the highest you can craft, which generates a strength 7. And to craft the tier 4, you will need the Blue Storm accessories, some harmonious imbalances, a good amount of mysterious powder, and Lucid Titan Storm. And basically you'll be able to craft a white, which will be tier 1, tier 2 from craft a green, tier 3 is blue, tier 4 is yellow. This is that stone that I was mentioning back in PvP and account based. It said rare, so I'm assuming that is maybe the tier 2 or tier 3. Again, it will really be easy to tell until in game, but you will be able to craft these, and as of right now they're only giving us strength and crit. In the future they may be adding endurance, HP if it's demanded. If not, they'll probably just ignore it, and then from there they're going to eventually possibly add even stronger etchings for the future. And the way it seems is you craft a storm accessory imprint 4, and then you buy the tier 4 of whatever one you want. Conversion rates, no clue. No information on that until it's added and crafted in game. Ore gathering. So gathering has a slight change. A jackpot bag from fieldstones has been added, and the drop rate from standard fieldstones drop bag has been increased. And fieldstones can now be obtained from hunting lieutenant monsters on Island of Dawn. So basically what this means is when gathering ores, you can get a jackpot bag that gives fieldstones, and the drop rate for the Vander Steel fieldstones and the drop bag has been increased. And then you can also get those fieldstones from killing the higher level BAMs on Island of Dawn. I do want to talk to them about increasing the Vanguard credits from IOD. That is for hopefully a future change, as it's very, very low, and I think it should be at least half of what Ravenous Gorge gives if possible, therefore making it a viable thing to farm, comboing with the fact that you need to do it for Island of Dawn for getting fieldstones now. Anyway, pet systems. Once you get a legendary pet, all white grade options will not be available, and you will only get green effects. And if you have any current white options, they should be changed to green. As far as which one, no clue. White pet or white options will no longer appear when changing, and the probability of the previously result and white grade options will now only yield the green options instead. So if you were before to roll your pet like 5 times and see like 3 white options, you would see 3 green options, as well as the added, you still see green as it is. And yeah, then there's a lot of bug fixes that you can read, and that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff that we've just covered. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section down below. I will do my best to answer everything I can. I do hope with this new patch I will be able to make a lot more content. I know I said before I wanted to make a lot of content on a lot of the dungeons, but there was just so many bugs and work's been busy, so it's not been the easiest to keep up with making content, as well as honestly I've just been farming. I haven't really been recording and editing and doing all the behind the scenes stuff to make the videos happen, so I do apologize on that. But there is a lot to do, and hopefully I'll be able to make a lot of player guides on the new crafting stuff, the harder mode dungeons, even if it's just runs. Hopefully there's stuff that's worth, you know, recording and putting on YouTube and fun stuff to do. Right now Who Goofed dies relatively quick, and almost everything else dies in one burn, and that's not really fun content to post, so I don't really want to post it. RK9 Hard coming out, I'm hoping to record and post a few runs, and we'll see. I would like to make some guides on some of these dungeons, with especially the harder mode stuff, but again, that takes a lot of time. So within that, that is the end of this video. I know it's really long, so thank you if you've made it this far. I hope you've enjoyed. If you had, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to keep up with anything that is TERA Console related. With that, I'm out of here. So y'all have a good day or night. And as always, I hope to see you in Aboria, gamers.